This video is only part of an unpaid, unbiased, in-depth review from an average rider's perspective, so check out the rest in the link below at thegoodride.com. If you want real advice, fill out the Me Harmony profile in the link below so I can help you properly. And if this video helps, please consider donating or buying through our links. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I like to make mediocre matter one good setup at a time. And this is the Burton Step-On 2022, but very much the same for 2023. But I wanted to do an updated review now that they made a few tweaks with the step-in system, and mainly though, compare it to the Genesis. And while I was testing these and these, I also had the Nidecker Supramatic, a very easy step-in system, and the Clew, another quick release, easy kind of step-in system. These all take it up a step from, let's say, the flow bindings, which I tested these against as well, but they have a lever on the back. These are just in and out, you know. For example, you just step in with this, and then this releases right here, just like the Burton Step-Ons. And the Clew, this one is harder to do. This attaches around your boot and then just goes in like that. I tested the step-ins with the Burton Photon that's new for 22 and the same for 23. It's a little less responsive. It's a little lighter, it seems like, and it better fits me. Also, I got it in a wide, so it was much more comfortable. I rode these on a wide variety of Burton boards and non-Burton boards, and I primarily compared them against the Genesis, but I will reference these guys too, because if you're looking at these, you're probably looking at these too. Now, to give you a short summary, the Burton Step-On binding was the first one out there. They have the Step-On X and the Genesis. The Step-On X takes it a little bit more responsive, a little bit more stiff, a little more poppy, a little more energetic. And the Genesis takes it a step in the other direction, makes it a little more smooth, a little less responsive, which I appreciate because the Step-On system is incredibly responsive. But one thing I've found in an extensive test this year that I enjoyed is that with the more mellow Photon response-wise, I found that I enjoyed the response a little bit better than I did in the past. It felt less twitchy. It felt a little bit more like the smooth Burton bindings. And in comparison to the Genesis Reflex and Cartel X EST that I compared on same days as well, I was actually enjoying the symmetrical response toe to heel. And for the first time, I really noticed how asymmetrical the response is with Burton Reflex and Burton EST. So if you're willing to compromise in terms of adjustability and to have a little less freedom of movement when it comes to leaning tip to tail, but you still want good shock absorption and you still want good flex underfoot, these could work for you. Now, when it comes to weight, these are 1.8 pounds, same as the Genesis Step-On. But what I found too is that the Genesis Reflex are 1.8 pounds as well, and the Cartel X EST was 2 pounds. So they're all very light. In comparison to the Clew, they're 2.4 pounds, and in comparison to the Supramatic from Nidecker, this is 2.8 pounds. You really feel the difference. Now, when it comes to the Highback Flex, it's pretty stiff. There's not much twist and very little give. Compare that to the Genesis, there's a lot of twist and a lot of give. And for me, I like a more mellow Highback. And I just loved the smoother feel of this hammock thing going on here with the Genesis versus the regular Step-On. But if you like a stiffer Highback, you might like this better. Now, when it comes to flex underfoot and buttering, these are the best in terms of all the quick releases out there that are super fast in and out. In comparison to flow bindings, which are a little slower in and out, these have dampness and shock absorption and a great feel underfoot. These have a great feel underfoot and have shock absorption but not dampness, but these just allow a board to flex naturally underfoot. What is interesting though is with buttering, it's easy for the board to flex, but it's not easy for you to move this way or that way because you're so locked into this high back. You can't lean forward here and you can't move side to side that easy. It's better with the new boots than it was with the old boots, but it's still not ideal. Now, when it comes to turn initiation and response, the only thing faster is getting Burton Ion step-ons and step-on X bindings. That is getting really close to hard booting. And while I liked it a lot better this year, I really did prefer the Genesis. It just mellowed everything out a little bit and it was more doable for me while still being able to power pretty much any board out there, no matter how demanding it is edge to edge. Now, when it comes to shock absorption, you have a lot of EVA foam in the heel, and I love that. The same as the Genesis. It doesn't have the gel pad like the Genesis Reflex does, but it's good enough. You have some padding throughout the top of the footbed here and good padding right here. There's plastic at the bottom here, where with the regular Reflex, that's foam. And the only thing it's really missing is that rubber dampening property like you see with Flow and other non-quick release bindings. But you can screw up and land flat with this. And let's face it, we all land flat. And in comparison to the Supramatic, this is what another one of those compromises here with these. You only have a little bit of EVA foam and then more in the toe, and you have EVA foam throughout the footbed, but it's not as much as the step-on. And you don't have much underneath to really dampen the ride. With Clew, it's even worse. It's just all fiberglass and plastic, and there's no shock absorption in the heel, and then just a little EVA foam throughout. But with these guys, you don't have to get Burton boots or the other two brands, I think right now, at the time I'm doing this review, that are also making step-on compatible boots. So when it comes to support, it's interesting. It's not like bindings with straps. Your support comes from being attached to the high back and being attached here. Now, when I tried Burton step-on with Burton rulers, I didn't really like that feel because the ruler would fold a little bit there. Now, I didn't really feel like I was unsupported around my ankle like I was with bindings with really thin ankle straps, but I didn't like the feeling either. That's why I went with Burton Photons, because they're not as responsive as Ions, but they still have an ankle strap here, and I really like that feel. The quick in and out is just so nice. Out of all these super fast quick release bindings, I would say these were probably the easiest because I could just step down in. It's hard to do on this table, but even after years of testing these, when I get these after spending a whole season on strap-in bindings, you step down in, you hear the click, but then you go, am I in? Am I in? But after a while, you get used to it. It's so easy to just get off the chair and step and go. I can see why so many people like that. I like the improvements they're making to the step-in system. It doesn't have that clicky thing going on. Didn't really ever bother me when I was riding them before, but I know it bothered a lot of other riders, and that's gone. But with Nidecker Supramatic, you have the same lever right here as you do like Burton step-on. All you do is step your boot into this, and let me do it over here because it's kind of weird without having your boot in, and it just steps down, and it has multiple levels just like this does now to deal with a little bit of snow on your footbed. And I like that. It's very easy in and out. Sometimes though, I forget to put this in on the chair, and sometimes I trip over that. This concerns me a little bit. There might be some failure here over time, but if you're an average rider like me, maybe not. And in comparison to the Clew, let me do this down here, this just wraps around your boot. You strap in a normal ankle strap, this goes under your boot. You have rubber here, so it's not weird. And then this has 2 click points too, so if you have some snow accumulation on your footbed, you can still step in, and you just step in like that, and then you pull this when you get out. I like the Supramatic and the step-on the best for releasing, but they're all the same stepping in. They're just a little different. And stepping out, this doesn't release as easy because you're dealing with some click points, but just take it easy and don't try to step out really hard. Now, when it comes to adjustability, there is very little. You just don't have much going on anywhere. You can rotate the high back a touch or use it for forward lean a touch, but it's not very good. It's just 2 screws here. It's the same with the Genesis. I'm kind of bummed though that it doesn't have that legendary high back rotation that Burton Reflex and Burton EST bindings do, where you can really turn this high back so it doesn't bite into your calves as much. And it also lines up better with the heel side edge and improves the response, but at least you have an adjustable gas pedal. They tell you what hole to put where with the size boot you have. I've tried this with the 9.5 and the 9, and I'm a 9, but I put it on 9.5 because I just like a little less response and feeling a little more gas pedal further up, so it doesn't feel like my toes are like right here, because that's what it kind of feels like when I set it up for 9, the proper way. You can get used to that or set it forward 1 and it'll be fine because these are already so responsive. You're not really messing with the symmetry. But with Burton Reflex discs like these, you can't turn them sideways and slide them tip to tail. You can only use them to center the binding in the board. And for me and for other Reflex bindings from Burton, that's a huge deal breaker because I need that stance width adjustability. And if you're riding Burton, it's fine because you have the channel system and you have infinite stance width adjustability. But if you want to ride other boards, you will be much more limited in terms of getting your ideal stance width, and that can be frustrating. So overall, I think these are a great middle ground if you want something more responsive, and the Step-On X are just massively responsive, but I know some people out there will like that and want that.